Dialogues. I'm Praful Nangia. As we continue on this journey speaking to entrepreneurs, we have a very special guest on our platform today. Gautam Bhasin is the founder of Prospurts, a boutique wealth advisory firm. Gautam started his entrepreneurship journey right after qualifying as a chartered accountant, and at a time when entrepreneurship was a really bad word in middle class India. He ran a brokering firm for about 5 years and then moved to the corporate side with HDFC Bank. In his last role with HDFC Bank, he was the regional head for private banking, and he's been running Prospurts for the last 11 years now. Gautam, welcome to Raven Dialogues.
Yeah, thank you, Praful. Thanks for having me over here. It's a pleasure to be here. I know you since some time, and good to be chatting with you. Yeah.
Yes. No, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. So, Gautam, basically, the whole idea of inviting you here is, of course, we would love to learn a lot more about your entrepreneurship journey. I think you're a person who's seen both sides of the table. You started on the other side, moved to this side, and then moved back to the other side. So, what was really going on? Because I do remember, growing up in a small town, entrepreneurship is not really something that parents want to hear, or they did at that point in time. What was the thought?
So I think one thing led to another. I don't think it was a well thought out plan. I spent all my school days in cantonment, so I had no clue what business or commercial world is all about. Fortunately, when I cleared my 12th, I did it from a very small place in Assam, a cantonment in Assam. I really had no clue, what I'm going to do. So I was, advised by my sister, friends, that why don't you look at BCom as an option. So that's how I came to Delhi and picked up BCom, took admission in a college, BCom honors. And then someone suggested that, people who do BCom also do CA. And I had no clue what CA is all about. So I just thought it's like a computer course or something. So like people generally, someone doing BSc would probably enroll in NIT. Similarly, I'm doing BCom. Enroll for this course which is known as CA. And incidentally, in my school in Assam, there was no commerce section. So I had zero clue about what commerce is all about.
Right.
So I enrolled for foundation, I cleared it, and that's when my articleship journey started, wherein you have to go to work with the CA for 3 years, and you help him in audit, taxation, and everything. And that is practically the first time when I saw someone's office, a commercial office. And then, of course, they started sending me for these audits to small, big, mid-sized firms. And I saw business for the first time, and I realized this is something different, and this is exciting. This is for someone, both my parents were government servants, so and staying in cantonment, looking at a factory and the owner and thinking that how, they're producing something, selling something, and in turn making profits, this is very exciting. So very early, I think at that point in time, maybe in the subconscious mind, I thought that I would want to become an entrepreneur. So I never consciously thought about it or never shared it with anyone. So as my CA journey progressed, I again, started really getting bored with audit and taxation and accountancy. And I realized that, I am not cut out for this. I don't think I can do this for my whole life. And those were the days when CNBC came to India. And I started watching CNBC, and just like anybody, people think that if you are good in maths, you will be a good chartered accountant. If you are a chartered accountant, you will be good with investments. These are basic myths which everybody has. So I also started following CNBC, and I found that, wow, this is some crazy world, everything, every day stocks are going up and down, so much happening in the world, and suddenly, there is irregular rain in Sri Lanka and Kenya, and tea prices in India have gone up, and Tata Tea stock is going up. So this is very fascinating, and I thought, let me look at getting into this segment. So while I was about to clear my CA, I took a leap, and first I came to I was in a small town with my parents, and first I came to Delhi. I tried talking to a few brokers, and then someone suggested me that in any case you have to leave your house, so why not go to Bombay? So I went to Bombay. Went to Bombay, and it took me almost 4.5 months to get my first interview, because there was no background, nothing. I had no clue what I'm applying for. I had no clue, what are the type of jobs which a professional like me can do in a stockbroking firm. So, luckily, fortunately, I joined a firm wherein they used to really work hard with you, and I joined the research division. I started helping a senior research analyst in banking and auto sector, and that is when I kind of slowly started figuring out what this investing world is all about. But this entrepreneurial bug, which was there in my subconscious mind, it hit me too early. And within 1 year, I left my job, and I started my broking setup in Punjab.
Okay, all right.
While Punjab, I had two close friends, one in NCR and one in Punjab. I called both of them. The Punjab guy said yes first. I said, okay, I'm coming to Punjab, and let's start the business. So, again, it was not really planned, but I think we started Kotak Securities first franchisee outside of Maharashtra. Those days, this franchisee world and sub-broker word was not so common. And when I went to Punjab, I got shock of my life, because Kotak told me that, we accept everything in check. I said, okay, that's fine. People pay in check. But when I went to Punjab, then I realized that everybody is saying that, we can pay only in cash. And this is how broking works in Punjab.
Okay.
So we figured out, everybody said that, it's impossible to run this model in Punjab. We felt that let's give it a try. Now we've done all the paperwork, and, let's try it out. And then we realized that there is this segment of clientele who wants to deal only in check. So army officers, government servants, a couple of big businessmen who had big portfolio, they wanted to deal with us, because they said, yeah, while buying, we will deal with any broker, because over there we have to pay money. But when we are selling stocks worth 5, 10, 15, 20 crores, then we want to deal with someone where we have the guarantee that money will come back. So it worked really well for us. Really well for us, and we flourished like anything. But then again, over next 4 or 5 years, I started realizing that I need to move to a bigger town, because I think I wanted to do much more than what I was doing there. Though financially it was no problem with making money. With this thought, in 2007, when markets were good, I could get an opportunity. I sold my stake and moved to Bombay with a view to start a business in Bombay. In financial services and investment. But when I went there, I thought that let me pick up a job and let me first, learn certain things which I'm not very comfortable with. So fortunately, I got an offer from HDFC Bank in research department. The bank was too good to me. I was soon promoted as head of research, worked as head of research for a couple of years, and then I felt that I need to talk to clients, I need to move ahead. Requested them, they again gave me an opportunity, moved me to Delhi as head of private banking North India. Did that for a couple of years, and as you know, once you get into that middle management zone, you have to take a call whether you want to keep doing what you are doing for next few years and wait for that big thing to happen within the organization or some other organization, or move out and do what you want to do. So incidentally, while I was working with HDFC Bank, we were taking care of ultra HNIs. But all my friends were, professionals. They were not ultra HNI. They were, probably moving towards that HNI zone or middle management guys. And I figured out that there is this segment who's not being served by anyone.
Right.
They are just not being served by anyone. So let's assume, to quote you, a vice president working with a Microsoft, or a senior guy or a middle management guy working with an American Express. When I talk to them, I realize that nobody is serving them. And then I looked at the model, that why is nobody serving them? Nobody was serving them because there are three segments. One is pure retail, which is, being served by local LIC agents, mutual fund agents, or, retail bankers, and they typically sell insurance and all. And then, there are these private bankers, wealth managers, who are getting to ultra HNIs because they are looking at big pockets. Now, this segment, middle segment, this falls somewhere in between. Now, they don't have a lot of wealth, but they are earning a lot of decent money. So these private bankers are not serving them, and since these guys are, doing well in their life professionally, they've done well in academically also, they are smart guys. They want someone to handle their portfolio who has got all the answers. Otherwise, they are happy, managing their own portfolio.
Right.
But then when I look, and then my assumption was that these guys must be doing well as, when it comes to managing their own portfolio. But when I looked at their portfolios, my friends, then I realized was they are either underinvested. Most of them were underinvested.
Okay.
And most other half was basically poorly invested. And unfortunately, between 2005 and 2012, since there was a real estate boom in India, this segment invested all their savings and future savings and earnings into real estate, thinking that real estate will become 10 times and that is how we will create wealth.
Sure.
So I somewhere figured out that financial, even though these guys are very well educated, maybe from an IIT and IIM, but still the financial literacy or awareness is pretty poor, and they really don't know what is to be done when it comes to their own personal finance. So they are either talking to their friends and doing what they are doing, or they are going on online and maybe reading stuff and doing things on their own, like buying stocks or investing into IPOs and all. So it was very clear that there is a merit in looking at this segment. So and this was a time when I was kind of getting bored with my job and was thinking what to do. And I felt, why don't I leave this job and do something specifically for this segment, keeping this segment in mind. I wasn't sure whether this segment will come to me or not, because these guys typically sit in glass offices in big buildings, and it's not easy to go and meet them unless you are a big brand. But I felt that there is a merit, and that is how I left my job and kick-started this journey. So I hope I will answer your question. Yeah.
No. Thank you for that brief, but a very interesting segment, right? Because I would assume that this would be the toughest segment, given that everybody's sharp, intelligent. They can read through a lot of things. I can understand, the UH and IS, they're a different category altogether. I think a lot of them rely on wealth managers because probably they just don't have the time. But this segment has the time and has the brains. So I mean, it's not an easy segment, right? Because I mean, there would be just too many questions, and everybody would have a point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the entry barrier is very, very high, and that works well for us also, because once we get inside, once we make someone as a client, then it's very difficult for us to lose him, because then there's practically nobody else working on this segment specifically, keeping their life journey in mind. So there are a lot of good boutique firms who are doing very good job, but very few who are working specifically for this segment. So it works both ways. Yeah, but to start with, it was really difficult to get into this.
All right, and so I mean, so what all services does Prospurts offer?
Initially when we started, we looked at these, all this segment, and we felt that all of them are deep invested into real estate. So and then the discussions were starting with real estate and ending with real estate. So first we thought that, one, we need to give them an advice on real estate. Second, give them an option as an execution partner, so that in case the advice is to sell or do something, then you are in a position to help them. And in turn, we also wanted to understand the segment, because even though I am an investment professional, I had no clue how real estate works. So when we started with the real estate segment, because that is where we felt that we need to work on. And by keeping in mind that wealth is something which eventually we want to kickstart and move this money from real estate to liquid financial assets. So gradually we started our wealth segment also. But over a period of time, like since real estate was not our, one forte, not something which we like to do as an executioner partner, we've slowly scaled it down. Now the focus is completely on wealth management. So wherein we profile a customer, we make a life, financial plan for him, wherein we plan all his financial goals. Basis that we make a cash flow statement for his life and then build an investment plan and then help them, build a portfolio. And once the portfolio is built, then it is, living with them. So the way we think is, first 30 years for is for learning and exploring. Next 30 years is earning and investment, and next 30 years is for living your retired life and spending whatever you have earned. So basically, why we say life journey? Because typically when we sign up these clients, investors, they are in this age bracket of 35 to 45, 50. And assuming that, between, both the partners, one of them will end up living till 90, then we are talking about, 55 to 45 to 55 years kind of journey. So the thought process is very different. It is not like chasing returns and giving them products and saying that this year this will go up and that will, the next year that will go up and move money from here to there. So idea is to, work with them for at least in my mind, I want my company to work with them for like 40, 45, 50 years. And then of course, that should continue. So we do that and then we help them build portfolios, very simple, basic portfolios. And then see, frankly speaking, though the world thinks that we are managing well, actually we are managing behavior of a client. Because what happens is that, there, as you understand, there's so many things happening in the world at micro, macro level, countries fighting, oil going up and down, something happening here, something happening there.
Right.
And this forces human mind to take a lot of actions. And when it comes to professionals, since they are working with companies and they get a lot of information because they are in middle. So a consulting guy would know everything what is happening in the world. So the urge to act on that information, stroke knowledge is very, very strong. And see, if you look at the formula of compounding, there are three variables: principal, time, and R. And time is in, has an exponential sign. It is in power. So it is the strongest sign, which means you will end up creating more wealth if you work more on T rather than, R. But the human mind is such that when you have so much information and knowledge, it forces you to, take action so as to manage R. Now, as a behavioral manager, stroke doctor, stroke advisor, my job is to work on investors' behavior so that they don't end up taking too many irrational calls, which means that they should not be taking too many calls, which means I need to train them not to take any call, which means that I need to train them to think investment as a boring activity. So typically when we invest somewhere, we try and find excitement out of it. But we feel that exciting when you try and find excitement out of investment, you end up ruining your portfolio. So we have to train them to look at investment as a boring journey. So it is all behavioral. So you can actually, if you ask me what I do, I work more like a clinical psychologist.
All right. That's an interesting take. But tell me one thing. I mean, look, entrepreneurship, and I've heard from a lot of people, it's a very lonely journey. And you have been on this journey for the last 11 years now.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, when you started out all alone, what was keeping you, sane? Because it's not easy.
So, see, frankly, my first stint as an entrepreneur helped, because in that stint, we even used to, serve water to our clients. We used to clean our office at times. So we've done everything. From that perspective, I was very clear that when I'm getting into entrepreneurship, I'm getting into this kind of an arrangement, or I will have to do everything. And secondly, what I felt, I've seen with a few of my friends who started their entrepreneurial journey, is that when they leave a high-paying job and get into an entrepreneurial role, they try and prove it to the world that, they are doing well on day one. So they take up a very expensive office, they buy an expensive car, and then they show that, they are making much more than what they were earning in the corporate world in the first month itself. And I think that is a recipe for disaster. So what worked with me is that I knew that, I may not earn whatever I'm earning right now, even for next 10 years. So we started with very low expectation. And in any case, for me, that real estate journey was a learning journey, because I had no clue anything about it. So I started very, very slow. In any case, I'm a big fan of Rahul Dravid, so everything revolves around the way he bats, and that is how I kept my initial brand name was Balls of India, because
Right.
Rahul Dravid was known as Ball of India, so I kept my company's name as Balls of India. So the approach I follow is Rahul Dravid's batting approach in a test match. So I think expectation wise, I was not far from reality. I knew what I'm getting into. And I know in entrepreneurship journey, and I have experienced that unless you really go down and reach a place wherein you feel that I have this is the worst mistake of my life, till you feel that your business doesn't flourish. So in fact, I was waiting for that phase. So it wasn't much of a difficulty for me. And of course, as far as wealth is concerned, I was looking for the right partner who will not look at this business as transactional business, but will look at this business as an annuity business, because we're looking at 40, 45 years of journey rather than next quarter or this week or next month. So it took me a lot of time. I discussed this idea with maybe hundreds of wealth managers, professionals, and it took me almost 5-6 years to find my partner. And being in service industry, I was very clear that I can't run this alone. And I need like-minded people working with me to handle this, because then when it comes to managing wealth, you have to manage it 24/7. See, tomorrow, if I want to take an off for a month, or if something happens to my health, or if something happens to my life, then who will be taking care of that money? So we started with that premise. It took me some time, but I was patient. I don't know why. Maybe something or the other kept clicking when it comes to making money. So maybe that kept me sane. But yeah, it is difficult for me. That journey was pretty okay.
All right. So a lot of people struggle. You spoke about getting a partner on board. A lot of people struggle in finding a co-founder, right? Specifically from the point of view that a lot of things have to align, in terms of temperament, in terms of ambition, in terms of short-term and medium-term, the short and medium-term outlook. What's your view for people starting out? Should they focus a lot more on finding the right co-founder, or just go along and maybe you'll just come across the right person?
See, you have to be very fortunate, and I don't think I have the answer for it. It's a hit and trial thing, but you can't do hit and trial with partners. You can't induct someone as partner and then after 6 months say that you are not my partner. So it is very tricky, and you have to wear your BD role. So for 5-6 years, I kept selling my idea. I kept selling myself to a lot of people, and typically not everybody bought it. And even though someone, let's assume someone liked it, but then one needs guts to leave their cushy job and jump from there to here and make it something which is kind of my vision, or I am thinking that there is a value in this thought process, or there is a value in this business, and we should be doing this. So it is not easy, and I think sometimes if one is lucky, one finds a co-founder in one day. In my case, it took me some time, but I was very clear in my mind that I don't want to get into any relationship which may impact me later. So I waited a lot, and it's difficult. It's really difficult. No answer for this.
Right. All right. Okay. And what about hiring people, right? Because there's no brand. It is just Gautam Bhasin as the brand. People will probably join you because they trust in you. How easy or difficult was it to hire the initial few hires?
So it was difficult in a sense that why would anybody work for us? We can't give them the money which a bank can give them. Secondly, we are talking about an annuity model, 40, 45, 50 years, which sounds good for an entrepreneur, but for an employee, saying that I'd rather sell something and earn an incentive next week or next month.
Sure.
So it is very difficult. So we took certain calls. The first call was that I will not hire from the industry.
Okay.
So that made my life very easy. Why not from the industry? Because industry's interests are aligned very differently. They are running a sales stroke distribution model wherein the focus is more on quarter or month or yearly numbers. So I felt that if someone had, everybody has certain liabilities in the form of EMIs or whatnot, and they have a lifestyle which they have built basis what they have earned in last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So it is very difficult for anybody to change that unless he is really, really passionate. So the first thing I decided was that I'm not going to hire people from the industry, because it is very difficult for me to make them first unlearn, then learn, both on the type of work, nature of work, and how we're going to manage the portfolios, as well as on the earning part. So initially, we looked at freshers, though it was very difficult to hire freshers and train them. But
and retain them, right? I mean, hire is one thing.
And retain them. Once they start working with you, if you are transparent, if your vision is clear, and you are not changing your.
Yes.
Should I start? So basically, the first thing I decided was that, I'm not going to hire people from the industry, because I felt that, the industry is built differently, and incentives are aligned differently, in the sense that industry is more commercial. They are looking at monthly, quarterly, yearly numbers, and that's how the system works, incentives and salary. Wherein we were talking about 30, 40, 50 years of journey with the client, wherein it's an annuity model, and you will make money. You will probably put all your effort now, not all, but maximum effort in the beginning, and you will bear the fruits over a period of time. So I felt that it is very difficult for me to make them unlearn, one, the earning part, and second, how to work with the client part. So we were very clear in our mind, and that helped. So we look for freshers just out of college, and not necessarily from professional colleges. Even a BCom guy, a smart BCom guy, we just hired them and trained them. And we knew that we will have to spend a lot of time and energy in training them, and we were also aware about this fact that not all of them will be fit for journey with Prospurts, and not everyone will continue working with us. So it's a tough process, but if you are clear in your mind on day one that this is what you are getting into, then it is not as painful as it is for someone who's thinking that I will hire people and they'll work for me for 5, 10 years. So it is difficult, because initially when you are a 3-member team or a 4-member team and one guy leaves, then it's like losing 25% of your workforce.
Yes.
So, but journey has been good for us, and now we've reached a stage wherein in the industry people know the kind of work we do. Now people from within the industry, even bankers, wealth managers want to work with us, because middle management, a lot of people understand that they can't keep doing that selling stuff every day. It becomes tiring, and somewhere they want to do well. Some of them want to get into some value work, wherein they're learning something new, they're doing good stuff, wherein they're doing something good for the client and feeling good about it. So now it's not that difficult, still difficult, but not as difficult as it was in the beginning.
All right. And so tell me one thing. Look, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a very competitive industry, right? I mean, what also the segment that you're operating in. How do you differentiate yourself?
See, frankly speaking, we don't have to there's no place where we have to go and differentiate ourselves, because the business model is built in a manner wherein we don't have a single sales guy. We get all our business through referrals. So which means that you have to serve your existing customers in such a manner, whether it is comes to execution or advisory or building trust or bringing in transparency in such a manner that they end up giving you more referrals. And we've consciously done this. So we don't have to go and sell ourselves to anybody. We don't have to go and tell anybody that we are different. And frankly speaking, I don't think the world is ready to even hear this thing that, if I go and tell someone this, we work on behavior. Very difficult for someone who's looking for a wealth manager to give him a product which will give him the highest return, to suddenly hear that someone will come and manage my behavior and hence help me in building a portfolio which will take care of all my financial needs. It's little tricky. It's little tricky to start with. So we are aware of this fact, and we are building this model by getting referrals, and we work really hard on our clients' portfolio. As I said, that being since we work like a clinical psychologist, we work on their profiles. Sometimes, we were dealing with a couple, husband has a different profile, wife has a different profile, and joint profile is absolutely different. So you have to think, how to explain a certain thing to both of them individually as well as jointly. So once they understand that we are doing something different, and once they understand that we are not chasing return, we are focusing more on more on behavior, more on not making mistakes, and that's working well for them. That's when they go and sell us on their own to their friends and family.
Right. Understood. All right. Interesting. That is quite interesting. What if you were to look back, Gautam, and it's been a long journey, more than a decade now. Anything that you feel that you could have done differently? Any learnings over these last 10 years?
I think, see, I'm a dreamer, daydreamer, and I like to dream a lot, and I need a lot of my me time, and the way I'm working, that gives me that space to think and dream a lot and be happy with what I'm doing. I really don't know, because I planned a lot. Just like my clients, I am also just like any human being, I'm also kind of irrational. So when I started, even though my subconscious mind was saying that you have to go slow and work basis what the way you like to do, but on the other hand, I was also making those plans on Excel that I will invest this much money, I will have a team of 10 people, this and that, and I wasted a lot of time. Somewhere I was trying to justify myself. In some places I was trying to justify to the world, though I soon realized that I'm going against what I am. But yeah, I have also wasted time, and I think sometimes I feel that since I follow this Rahul Dravid way of batting in a test match, uh, there are other ways also. Like if you look at how Rishabh Pant bats, or how Sehwag bats, or how Kohli bats, sometimes I feel that I could have batted like them for a short while, but then it doesn't happen. You can't bat like everyone. So I think when it comes to aggression, sometimes I feel that I could have been more aggressive. But that's a feeling. I don't know whether that would have worked for me or not.
Right. All right. And if one question that comes to mind, and I think it's on everybody's mind, Gautam, and I think good that I have you on this platform today. Everybody's talking about a recession. That is on everybody's mind. Whatever you read, wherever you read, people are scared of a recession. What's your reading?
I really don't know. See, frankly speaking, everybody is talking. See, I don't have that insight. I'm not a macro guy. And when it comes to personal wealth management, macros rarely work. To give you a recent example, when did the Nifty hit recent low 7,500 or somewhere close to that in March 2020? How many COVID cases did we have? Just 200. 200 cases, and Nifty fell from 15,000-16,000 to 7,500. And then we had like thousands and lakhs of cases. We had a lockdown, second lockdown, and whatnot, and deaths happening around. And but markets kept going up.
Right.
So linking markets to macros is not my cup of tea. I really don't understand it, and I don't spend too much time and energy trying to understand it, because they just don't run parallelly. And secondly, see, I follow one not practice, I would say, one rule: faith in future. So when you are investing, you need to have faith in future. So my assumption is that of course, recession can come, and it can be there for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, who knows? But then there is faith in future that we have evolved as a human mankind, and we will find ways to come out of it. So maybe one particular country may not find a way to come out of it because of the excesses they have done, and maybe that country is US, and maybe because of that we will also have a problem. But then who am I to form a view today that US will go into recession, and what is the quantum of impact which will happen on global markets, and what is the quantum of impact which is going to happen on us, that is against what I propose my investors to do. Because I tell them not to take too many calls, not to think too much. Because if you take more calls, then the probability that you will become irrational is way too high. Just to give you an example, day before yesterday, I looked at two clips. JP Morgan, I think, saying crude will touch $300 a barrel, and Credit Suisse saying crude will touch $65 a barrel.
Right.
Now, see, these thousands of analysts sitting in JP Morgan have concluded that, it will touch $300 a barrel, and thousands of analysts sitting in Credit Suisse have figured out that it will touch $65 a barrel. Somebody like me who's working with a small team and, someone who doesn't have access to, OPEC or Russia, who are oil producers, or USA, then it makes sense for me to just, ignore everything and focus on the practices and rules which I have to and my clients have to follow for personal wealth management. See, the idea is very clear. Let's assume somebody is my client. See, what is my job and what is his requirement? His requirement is very simple. He broadly needs money for three things. His house, which he has to buy, or let's say if he is bought, then he doesn't need that. His kids' education, because in cities like Gurgaon, Bombay, Bangalore, almost everyone's sending their kid abroad. And then third is your retired life. So typically professionals retire anywhere between 50 to 55. If someone's lucky and may survive till 60. But let's assume 55, and we are saying 90 years is the age till which one can live. Then retirement is the big, time bomb which we are sitting. So my focus is more on T, how much are they investing? More on T, that they are not taking irrational calls and they remain invested for a very, very long period of time, which means they remain invested for 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55 years of their life. And little bit on R, because I don't have any control on R. Market behaves the way it wants to behave, and I don't want to read too much into macros and then link it to markets and take calls. And I genuinely feel I don't have the ability to do that. So I typically stay away from it. I don't have a view what to say.
Understood. So you mentioned that most of your clients would be say in the 35 to 50 age bracket. Now, which means that most people like me as well are very consumption driven, right? And then how do you kind of convince people to hold on to the next car and then focus on the 30-year journey hence?
So financial planning comes to our rescue. Once you make a financial plan, and all these guys are very smart, so they will work on their assumptions multiple times. They will ask us questions on our assumptions when it comes to inflation or rate of return or this and that multiple times. And once they are 101% clear that all the assumptions are correct, with respect to how much they are spending and how much they want to spend until when they want to work and where the kids are going to study, then the financial plan shows them a picture. Okay. And in most of the cases, you will be surprised, people are underinvested, underprepared. Right now, the biggest mistake everyone is doing is that they are spending whatever they have earned on their kids' education, assuming that their job will continue for next 10 years or 5 years, assuming that they will keep making the same amount of money, which will take care of their retirement, assuming that nothing will happen to their health, assuming that nothing will happen to their life. Assumption is that nothing's going to happen, everything will remain same, but that doesn't really happen. So I think financial plan is a big eye opener. So once one looks at it, then one knows that okay, plus or minus 10%, at least I know what the direction is and what that figure is, that saving figure is, investing, how much I need to invest in a year. And then how much you're earning, how much you need to invest, what is the shortfall. Can you even invest that much? Maybe no. If no, then work on your goals again. Then figure out where you can change your goals, because you will have to do something. And if you have to stretch it. So when you are stretching, then you automatically get into that mode wherein you start taking rational calls. So typically these calls are on discretionary items when you are buying, big expensive TVs or big cars, all travel. Travel is a big thing. You go for foreign vacations 2-3 times a year and then stay in expensive hotels. So then we don't have to tell them. See, frankly speaking, the smart guys, once they know there's a problem, they'll figure out how to manage it. And see, this age, it doesn't see. I don't like working with my clients on saving aspect because they are not in that 20 to 30 year bracket. They are in 35 to 45, 50 year bracket. We showcase it to them, tell them that you have to invest more. For that, you need to save more. And if they're smart, they figure out on their own how to do it. And see, it's a journey wherein we walk with them together. It's not something wherein I am going to provide everything. They have to. Let's assume I'm a cardiologist. I can tell my client, yeah, you have to run or you have to walk. No, they have to walk, they have to run. I can't run with them every day. So it's a journey on which they have to do a lot of things. We just show them the direction. And whenever they are getting irrational and we sense that, they are thinking in the wrong direction, we try and course correct.
Understood. And so I'm going to ask you for a free diagnostic, Gautam. And I know you don't do it, but let me do that, because what triggered that thought was, I think we spoke many years back and you mentioned I think a corpus of 4 to 5 crores at that point in time is what is needed to see you through your retired phase of life.
So,
and then I think you've amended that number now.
So now we work with many families, and most of these families are in cities like Gurgaon, Bangalore, Bombay, Singapore, Dubai. So cost of living is pretty high, and I don't think people living in these cities can move to tier 2, tier 3 towns. Most of them when they retire, though they say that we'll go to mountains or we'll go to seashore or something like that, but that doesn't really happen. So and we've made a lot of financial plans now, and this range is now 5 crores to anywhere between 35, 40 crores, depending upon what is their lifestyle.
Sure.
Segment.
Okay.
And this is just for retirement. This has nothing to do with your kids' education abroad, and this has nothing to do with your home purchase.
So that is extra.
That's extra.
That's extra, huh?
Okay. See, that's why I'm saying. So if one wants to live a life king size, and kids are staying abroad and they want to travel, to meet them, to travel across the world, stay in expensive properties and stay in an expensive house and have house helps and everything, and they want to maintain the similar lifestyle for next 45 years, wherein there's not going to be any inflow. And you need that kind of money. But that, I would say, anything more than 15 crores is an exception. But 5 to 15 crores is a range which is like pretty common in a city life.
And easily doable. As per you.
Yeah, easily doable. But not easily doable. You have to make certain amends. But yeah, it is doable, because see, compounding starts playing its role after 6, 7, 8, 9 years. So if you start investing at the right time, especially around 35, then you have at least 20 years of working life wherein you can, save sufficient amount of money. And if you start at 35, you're generally sorted around 45. The problem is to start with. Because
so our data suggests, Gautam, that I think the retirement age is reducing. We are seeing a lot of people kind of facing those pressures. I would say late 40s onwards. How do you incorporate that into your planning? Because that 50-55 may not work anymore.
See, that's a learning for us also, and we've now started discussing it with our clients. That maybe your assumption is that we'll work till 55, but that may not work out, because a lot of our clients have faced difficulties in last 3-4 years, even pre-COVID. And when you lose a job as a middle manager or a senior manager, then it becomes really difficult to get back into a similar kind of role. At least this is what we have seen. So this learning is new to us also, and we started discussing and started changing our financial plans accordingly. In fact, there's another thing also which has changed. Initially, we used to assume that once one retires, then it's not going to work, because we wanted to be conservative. We are let's be extra conservative. But now we've started thinking that one will have to work. See, most of the financial plans, when you complete the working, you know that one is not sorted. Then you have to work on that assumption also. But yeah, we started working on multiple iterations. Now we show our clients a financial plan. What happens when you retire at 45 or you stop earning at the age of 45? What happens?
Okay.
So that gives them a food of thought, and they sometimes give up on their goals, sometimes give up on the way they are living their life, or at least with the guidance, sometimes prolong the let's assume they're wanting to buy a house, they will say, okay, let's wait for 3-4 years and then buy this is what we need, because today we have our parents, our kids staying with us, we need a bigger house 5 years down the line. We may not be a bit. So these kind of thought, suddenly they start accepting that, okay, we need to work rationally, think rationally.
Understood. And so, moving on, I think, I noticed one thing, and of course your LinkedIn profile bears it out, that you are now an avid marathoner. How did that happen?
So again, a story, I was about to turn 40 and my wife's cousin turned 40. And his wife threw a big party. So when I was about to turn 40, my wife said, let's celebrate your 40th birthday. And I looked at myself, I was 105, issues with my neck, lower back, upper back, this, that, and no exercise, bad, style of living. So I felt, what is there to celebrate? I couldn't find a reason. Why should I be celebrating my 40th birthday? So then I thought that let me do something. But this thought that let me do something happens almost every year. Every December, at least it happens that, you will get into some kind of regime and work on your fitness. So when I turned 40, I thought that, I am an advisor. And I tell people that don't do DIY. There is a merit in going to an advisor, even if you are losing some money in the form of, fee or whatnot. I also then took a rational call and I said, I am going to get a trainer stroke coach for myself.
Okay.
And then I thought, what should I do? And fortunately, I bumped into a running coach. Fortunately, I bumped into a running coach, and I also realized, since I tried going to gym or swimming pool or a tennis court with my wife or friends, but then I realized that it's very difficult to you need to have a gym everywhere when you're traveling. In tennis you need a partner. Pool you can't swim in winters. So I thought, what is that which you can do easily? So I figured out that running is something wherein you don't need much. You can run alone. You can run wherever. You don't need too many accessories or infrastructure to run. So, and unfortunately, I bumped into this coach, and then this journey started. So initially, the idea was I had no clue. So I remember my first run in 2018. It was a 2-kilometer run walk, 3 minutes of walk and 1 kilometer, 3 minutes of walk and 1 minute of running. And when I completed it, I felt that wow, I can do this much. I had no. I think even that was much more than for me. But as I worked with this coach, he initially trained me for a 10K, then a half marathon, then for 5 more half marathons, and then one fine day we took a call, let's train for a marathon. Okay. That's how.
So what are you training for now?
No, I'm not training as much, because training for a marathon takes a lot of toll on you. Running takes a lot of toll on you. And your personal and professional life, because you just can't run 16-18 kilometers in the morning and go to office fresh. And so I've cut down on it, and I run like an investor, like they do SIPs. I also run 4-5 days a week, 3-4 kilometers, 5 kilometers, as much as I want for my fitness.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. So who's been your role model, Gautam? I mean, somebody who you looked up to in terms of, you've drawn inspiration from in your journey?
See, frankly speaking, other than my parents, I can't think of anybody. I just can't think of anybody, because the typical Punjabi families, grandparents came from Pakistan. My father was born on border. So initially his name, like this refugee movie, his name was kept as Refuge Kumar, which incidentally changed later on, because he was a refugee. He was born in a camp. so very tough times. My mom's side also, parents came from there. My mom lost her father when she was 3. So very difficult time. And uh, even going to school was a problem for them. Matlab, my father took, I don't know how many years to complete his studies because of poverty, pure poverty. And then the way they raised us, and they kept working the whole life, keeping us in their mind, and they never complained, never ever complained. And they stood with me at every time, because of my nature. As you can see, I keep doing new things. And
Right.
when you keep doing new things, it's not easy for everybody around you. You are comfortable in your mind that you are leaving your job and starting something of your own. But it's not easy for your family. So I think they stood with me in Indian thing. So as an inspiration, my father eventually became a fairly famous maths teacher. Good fan following. His students who are now 50 plus, 55 plus.
Yes, I'm one of them.
He'll come and meet him, and I see him talking to a lot of his ex-students who are and counsel their kids who are now in college or school. So I genuinely feel, I get really inspired. And still they are enjoying their life, even though they never looked at material things. They are happy in our happiness. They are happy in my son's happiness. So inspiration-wise, I would say my parents, and
Okay.
I would also want to commend my wife, because I left my job in 2011 when I got engaged and we were not married, and I felt that let her not get this taste of salary plus bonus plus incentive. So when we were about to get engaged, I told her that I'm planning to leave my job and I will start something of my own. I don't know what she thought. She said I'm absolutely fine with it. And it so happened that when I got relieved, and the day I got married, I had no job. And typically in North India, Punjabi families, it's very difficult, because on the marriage day, people will ask, "Ki ladka karta kya hai?" And the day I got married, I had no business, and I was relieved from my job. So hats off to her. She took it positively, and when I started slow, so nothing much was visible. What am I doing? I was testing out, trying things out on real estate. I was thinking on how I want to start my wealth practice. I was looking for a partner. I was talking to so many people, and see, in front of her, nothing really was happening. So I think I will give full marks to her, because in today's world, when there's a lot of consumerism, people are spending money. It is really difficult to stand with someone wherein there is no clarity what is happening. The clarity may be there in my mind, but it's not visible to anyone. So I would say all three of them.
Okay. All right. And so are you reading something, Gautam?
Yes. So, I used to read fiction earlier, and then I lost interest, or I think I took up running, and then I had no time to read, because I was running, working, and somehow trying to find time to rest. And so I in between stopped reading. Then I picked up few books, and I realized that I am not enjoying reading. So I thought that let me read something which is interesting. So last couple of weeks I read 2 books by the same author, Sitapati. One is Jugalbandi, which is on Advani and Vajpayee, and second on Narasimha Rao, which is Half Lion. So written by the same author, same era wherein BJP came, Congress went, Congress came, BJP went, kind of stuff, and what is happening on the background. So pretty interesting. I read these 2 books, and now I think I've reached a point wherein I can pick up my boring stuff related to behavior and.
All right. Interesting. No, this is nice, Gautam. Very nice to hear about your journey. I can personally say that I think I have troubled you enough times when Talent North was being incubated as to am I doing the right thing, and what am I doing, and should I be doing it or not? And I think these are questions that a lot of people face, right? I mean, the moment you say bye-bye to a regular job and want to do something on your own, all these doubts start creeping up every once in a while.
Right.
So any advice, Gautam, for people who've just started out or are thinking of starting out on an entrepreneurial journey?
Be very clear what you want to do and at what pace you want to do. Because I think the biggest problem right now in this world of social media is that we are doing a lot of stuff for others to showcase that, what we are doing. So I think that's a big trap. I see a lot of people getting into that trap wherein they're trying to prove it to the world. I think if someone's getting into entrepreneurship, then first one should be very clear why he's getting into. Of course, but still sometimes it happens that one just jumps into it the way I jumped into it without thinking much. But then I think as an entrepreneur, don't try and prove anything to the world. Just stick to the basics. Don't splurge too money on stuff which is not relevant to start with. It's okay to work in co-working or small offices in basement for years. It doesn't really matter. Don't try and showcase to the world that you have arrived. If you get into that mode, then I think it's a difficult journey. Otherwise, I think entrepreneurship is a beautiful thing to happen. I am blessed that twice in my life I tried entrepreneurship, and I don't think I can get back into corporate world ever again. And of course, I'm not saying that entrepreneurship is better than working in a corporate world. See, one needs to really figure out what is one cut out for. If one is, I know a lot of successful people. In fact, I manage their money. They're working in the corporate world. They have made tons and tons of money. They're happy in their life. They've done wonders. So if someone's taking this entrepreneurial route, then one needs to be really clear why one is getting into it.
All right. So clarity of thought in terms of whether you really want to be an entrepreneur or not.
Yes. Yeah.
It is not because these days everybody and everybody's uncle is an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
That's not the reason to get.
I see that fad, in youngsters, especially people coming back from abroad, they come back and they say, startup shuru karunga. They're looking for an idea for a startup.
Right.
And then suddenly 4 or 5 guys will get together and start working on anything. So I think that's a trap.
Understood. All right. No, Gautam, thank you so much. I know you're a busy person, and I know you are moving offices also.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a big move. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Praful, for having me over and having so much faith on me throughout the life. Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you, Gautam. Thanks.
Thank you.